Hi there, I'm Ava with Drexel TV's Inside Ambition, and today I'm talking with Ikey Raw, who runs pages on Instagram and Facebook called Unsolved Murders in Philly. Ikey reports and comments on crimes in Philadelphia, along with interviewing and advocating for victims of violence in the city. You can follow us on our Instagram at inside_ambition, along with our YouTube and Twitter pages. With all that being said, let's get started. So Ikey, first of all, thanks for being here. This is going to be a really interesting interview. I can already feel it.
Good, Ava. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
So tell us a bit about your background and what inspired you to start working with victims of crime in Philadelphia and really start reporting on all this.
I'm Ikey Raw. I'm known as man of the people in the city of Philadelphia. For people who don't know my story, I started getting involved as far as, seeking justice for victims because of David Jones, who was a Black man who was killed by police officer Ryan Powell now on June 8th, 2017. I seen the video of David Jones being shot in his back, being shot down, and I wanted to do something. So after forming a lot of protests for the Justice for David Jones Coalition and getting the officer arrested and getting the officer terminated from the Philadelphia Police Department, that was sort of my introduction into the city of Philadelphia. At that point in time, a lot of mothers, a lot of parents were reaching out saying that their children were being killed in the city as well. And, they would like justice as well, because I'm not the type of guy, a lot of people know my story. I'm not the type of guy to scream Black Lives Matter just because a police officer or someone who doesn't look like me kills someone who looks like me. I believe that Black Lives Matter anytime someone is killed. I believe that all lives matter. Doesn't matter what your race is. So that's what sparked me to want to do something as far as helping the victims in the city of Philadelphia. So I started Unsolved Murders in Philly with Ikey Raw in September 2018. We have been very successful in helping over 70 families get an arrest. That's what basically really started Unsolved Murders in Philly with Ikey Raw. Really started because of justice for David Jones, which, spiraled until getting justice to victims of unsolved murders in Philly, as well as victims of crimes and everything like that.
So one thing I want to talk about is the recent Fairmount row house fire that took place. For those who don't know, a fire recently tore through a row house in the Fairmount neighborhood of Philadelphia, causing the deaths of 12 people, 9 of whom were children. These were public housing units. So I saw that you did some investigative work on this, interviewing victims and witnesses. You've promoted GoFundMe pages for families that lost their homes and loved ones. So what I found interesting is that with different reports on this incident, there were conflicting accounts. Some were reporting that sprinkler systems in the building weren't working, smoke detectors were faulty or turned off. It's not really clear which one it is. They were also saying that the fire itself was started by a child who lit a match to a Christmas tree. But I saw that you actually pushed back against this on your pages, and you said the cause wasn't actually known. So yeah, just tell us more about that, and why do you believe that narrative is not really the case?
I never pushed back on that. I don't know if somebody else might have said that on my page. Like, the only thing, as far as the fire was concerned, it was a tragic situation. You got 12 family members dying. I'm always, when I share information on my page, I don't want to share stuff that, I don't think is true or I don't have facts about. You understand what I'm saying? So what happened was someone shared the news of, it was alleged that a 5-year-old started the fire, and one of the family members had made a post about that wasn't true, and they would appreciate, whoever posted anything about the 5-year-old doing that, right, take it down, right. So I never, publicly said anything about what I believe or what happens. Only thing I know is that it was a tragic situation. 12 people were killed, 9 children. Anytime children are killed, it's a tragic situation. But as far as the fire is concerned, but, the fire marshals, they did come out the other day and said they're 99.9% sure that the fire started because of, the child playing with the lighter. If that's the cause of the fire, that's the cause of the fire. We have to accept the facts. If that's the facts, that's the facts. That's why I always say facts over feelings. We might not like the truth about things sometimes, but the truth is what it is.
And also following up on that, I was looking at the Philadelphia Inquirer's take on what happened. And some are actually blaming the city for knowingly overcrowding these public residencies due to a shortage of units. Do you think there's any merit to this claim as of recently?
And I'm glad that you brought that up, because I definitely wanted to touch on this topic, because a lot of people understand, in the Black community, that's normal. That's not rare for 20 family members to live in a 3-bedroom house. You know what I mean? For 15 family members to live in a 1-bedroom house. When we take care of our loved ones, if they need a place to stay, that's what we do. We allow our loved ones to stay with us. So when people come out and say it's the city fault, it's not the city fault. If I go and get a house right now and I'm only supposed to have me and my 3 children there, and my sister loses her home and she needs a place to stay, I'm going to let my sister stay with me. It's a shame that in 2022, you have family members that have to live this way because we don't know their situations. You know, maybe some of them were afraid to come out and ask for help, but we always know our family is going to take care of us. So I don't believe the city is at fault. Just like, you know, I forget the guy's name, but the head of the PHA came out and said, when we first rented to the family, it was a small family, but over the years, you know, the family grew, and we don't evict families because, you know, they have children. You know what I mean? We got to take care of these families.
What do you think would help with preventing such a problem like this in the future? Because it's so sad.
Right, it is. See, that's a good word. I'm glad you said that, Ava. It's sad because you have families in the Black community and low-income communities. We have to live like this. You know what I mean? You have white families who got to live like this as well. You go some parts of the city like Kensington, Fishtown, you have a lot of white families who have, you know, 10, 12, 15 family members in 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom houses. So it's not just a Black issue. You know, it's an issue with poverty. It's an issue with, you know, people not having the resources to live. Like I say all the time, in the Black community, a lot of us are afraid to ask for help. A lot of us don't want to deal with mental health issues and things that we deal with because we don't want to be talked about. We don't want that stigma put on us. So, you know, whatever the issue is, but it's no one to blame in that situation. So I want everybody to know it's no one to blame. It was a tragic situation at the end of the day. So instead of us blaming, let's talk about what we can do to change it. Let's talk about what we can do to make family members feel comfortable going to PHA and going to the housing people and letting them know, hey, my sister needs a place to stay, but she's going to be staying with me until we can find her somewhere to stay.
And I really appreciate your take on that, because it's not just playing the blame game and just blaming someone falsely when that's not necessarily the case. You're just trying to explain the situation as it happened and that there's really no one at fault, and it's tragic and it's unavoidable. You shared an interesting statement on your Facebook and Instagram yesterday for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which was the day before we're recording this. You said if Dr. King were alive today, he would have slapped this word rhymes with spit, he would have slapped the spit out of several activists in Philadelphia. So tell us what you meant by this and what kinds of activists are you referring to?
Dr. Martin Luther King was not, you know, about going around and saying, you know, hey, let's just calm down. No, Dr. King was about, yes, he was nonviolent, but he was about bringing equality for everybody, bringing justice, but by any means necessary, just as well as Malcolm X was. So at the end of the day, I don't want people to get this narrative of Dr. King, like every Dr. King Day, you got to go out and, you know, donate money. You got to go out and feed the homeless. You got to go out and, you know, some people might say, well, he sounds real ignorant right now, but that's your opinion. That's fine. But what I'm saying is Dr. King stood for much, much more than us going out here and cleaning schools, and where every year we see the activists in Philadelphia, oh, it's King Day of Giving and King Martin Luther King Day of Service, go out and do service and all that. But at the end of the day, you know, what kind of service are we doing? You know, are we bringing people together? I didn't feel like nobody was brought together. All I seen was a bunch of Black people over here saying this and doing this. And that's why I said on there, Kumbaya. MLK Day in Philadelphia is a day where you see a lot of your activists and elected officials singing Kumbaya all day.
So with all that said, I'm sure that will be a useful takeaway for plenty of Drexel students and hopefully inspire some of us to help with this issue. Ikey, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today, and we hope you found this discussion useful and informative, whoever's watching. You can follow Ikey on his Facebook and Instagram pages, Unsolved Murders in Philly, which will be linked down below, and be sure to check out Inside Ambition on our social pages as well to see more content like this. Thank you all so much, and tune in next time. See you soon. Bye!